place where you really want to experience traffic is in your business. This is a conversation that actually I dove into with my strategic mastermind clients just the other day to talk about pathways and strategies in which we can create more traffic to come to our websites, to come to our social media, to come to lead magnets that we maybe have, and ultimately to increase the quantity of people that are finding out about our brand, about our business, about our programs and services, and what we're here to do in the world. Generating traffic and creating opportunities for more traffic and consistent traffic is actually something that is so essential, because ultimately, when it really comes down to it, a lot of the things we do in business, we actually play a numbers game. And the more people are aware and know about your brand, know about you, know about your programs and services, the more opportunities you are actually creating to building relationships, to having important conversations that you are required to have to get people to come deeper into your business. And ultimately, throughout all the traffic that you have an opportunity to actually create leads and create the connections and nurture the connections with really aligned soul clients who then come into your business, who then purchase and buy your programs and services online. So traffic is really the thing that is out there through all the seeds that we plant, and traffic is really essential. And it's often not so intentionally thought about. And so I want to have this conversation with you today because traffic is such a vital piece, and it will allow you to really create more chances, more opportunities for your brand to make an impression. So oftentimes a strategy on creating traffic, of generating traffic, is within your brand building and brand awareness strategy. So it's a part of branding. It's really all the different places we want to be seen and heard to create opportunities for people to say, hey, I want more of that, okay? This is the kind of traffic that we want. And oftentimes I see with entrepreneurs is that we only ever think about creating these opportunities organically ourselves, instead of tapping into the power of networks, into the power of media, into the power of other people's stages and audiences. And so today I'm having this conversation with you because this is critical, and I'm really excited for those of you who are going to join me for the retreat in Tulum. This is one aspect we are going to be working on throughout that week to make sure that we're incorporating that into your strategic plan for 2024 so that you have consistent traffic. And of course, if you're working with me privately, if you're in my mentorship spaces, you are absolutely going to get the support to do that as well, because this is such an essential piece. And strategies and our businesses are multidimensional, but sometimes we forget to zoom out and really look at what are all the different pieces that are at play and that are working together and have to work together for us to actually be able to not just create the awareness and create the traffic, but then take that traffic, turn it into really qualified leads with ideal soul dreamy clients, nurture those relationships, nurture those connections, and then ultimately move them and lead them through our business all the way from that first touch point that they quote unquote found us on, all the way into our programs and services, perhaps first free and then paid. So I'm going to focus on the piece that really brings the traffic today, and we'll have more conversations around what we're actually going to do once you have the traffic, which are things I talk about a lot. And if you were one of the incredible souls who came to the CEO strategic planning meeting, that's where we spoke a lot about what are we going to do with that traffic for the next 4 months. So how we're going to tap into the business that's already right in front of you, the audience that already exists, the people that are already in your world, because quite honestly and truthfully, For the next 4 months, if you're looking to really like hit it home with your goals, or maybe even double your sales and really create massive momentum, the last 4 months is where you really want to maximize on all the relationships that you have already built and created. But again, it's a different conversation and we're going to have it. So what can we do to build our brand? What can we do to generate more traffic? Boom. That is the question I'm going to answer right now. So you can take out a pen and paper and you can write this down, but this is really, really essential. So there's a couple of ways, and I'm going to talk about 3 ways. One is ways in which you can create traffic on your own by building something from the ground up. Okay. And if you like speaking, if you like podcasting, then maybe having your own podcast, or having your own show on YouTube, or having your own Facebook, I don't know, weekly live stream show, like whichever way you want it, could be something that could be a really, really great way for you to generate traffic. Now, having your own podcast, doing something like that means we're really building that up, and that's going to take a bit of time. So this is organically building something that then over time will grow bigger, bigger, and bigger and bigger, and ultimately allow you to have more traffic. Now, with podcasting, the cool thing is that it gets pushed out to multiple different platforms. So my podcast, for example, you can find it on Apple, a podcast, you can find it on Spotify, you can find it on Captivate, you can find it on pretty much all the major platforms, as well as YouTube, which is the largest search engine in the world now. So bigger than Google. Think about this. So when people are actually searching for things, they can find my podcast, they can find my recordings, and ultimately this allows me to create traffic. So I can tap into these platforms by being on them to create more traffic. So a podcast is a really great way in which I can create traffic. And then from that traffic, I have the opportunity to really have important conversations with you, like this one, around strategies to create traffic and why it's so important, and then lead you to come actually and take another step. So oftentimes you hear me say things like, hey, if you're enjoying this podcast, or if you listen to this and you want to join me for the retreat in Tulum, or work together privately in my strategic mastermind or one-to-one, come over to my Instagram at Teresa Lambert Coaching, send me a message, and let's chat about what's next for you and what working together could look like so that you can scale your business to that 6 or multi-6-figure business. So here you can see as an example on how I can use this platform that I'm building and creating to not just have important conversations, expand my brand, but also create opportunities and plant seeds for you to take actions and come deeper into my business and come in and say, yes, I want to know about the retreat. I would like to come and meet you in Tulum. Yes, I want to actually talk to you about helping me scale my business. Let's have that conversation. And maybe it is time for me to hire you as my mentor so I can finally hit those 10K months, double my sales, scale my business, and actually have more time and freedom to play. And if that is you, absolutely, head to my DMs at Teresa Lambert Coaching, or obviously comment on this video if you're watching it on YouTube, and we can start a conversation that way. But podcasting is one way in which you can really create a platform, but that is your own platform. And now the next 2 things that I'm going to share with you are really, really powerful. Really powerful, because what we want to do around creating more traffic is actually tap into other people's stages, tap into other people's networks and audiences, and tap into other people's, let's call it, foundation that they laid, and have them say, this person is an expert on this. So we can use established brands to back our message and to back us as experts, and it will actually help you build your authority within your industry and niche. And this is why the next 2 are so important. And the first thing is, I'm going to come to, because it's natural, is again speaking. So if you may already have your own podcast, you might love speaking, maybe you do a lot of master classes and workshops, it's really natural for you, and speaking is an avenue you want to use, it's brilliant. getting onto other people's podcasts, popular podcasts that are targeting or for your ideal audience, if you want to reframe that, and or online summits or in-person summits and events or other people's retreats where you get to speak to your ideal audience is a brilliant way for you to actually reach more people without needing to build something from zero. So I just spoke about starting your own podcast, but that's going to take time, and there's an entire strategy on how you can do that. And, you know, a lot of people, actually, I found this out recently. I heard that most people stop their podcast after 7 episodes. Now, I had 2 podcasts, one which is taking a season break. We did over 102 episodes. That's 2 years of podcasting. I am well past 50, so I've done this every week for over a year, and I have no intention to stop. And I'm starting to interview 5-figure entrepreneurs that are wanting or actively scaling their businesses to bring you more real stories of entrepreneurship. Again, if you are one of them and you want to be on this podcast, DM me on Instagram at Teresa Lambert Coaching, and let's have a conversation, and you can apply to be on the podcast. But ultimately, what I'm saying here is that by getting onto somebody else's podcast, by getting onto somebody else's stage that's already established, you're really tapping into that audience that exists. I was just on the 6-figure podcast Rebel podcast, and that is a top 100 podcast. So that's a beautiful and great opportunity for me to create traffic to what I do, to my programs, my services, my Instagrams, my offers, right? So it's a really, really great way to create traffic. Other people's stages. So what stages do you want to be on? What podcasts do you want to be on? Have a strategy to actually get onto other people's stages. And the second part and the third thing, ultimately, in what I'm going to share today before we wrap this episode, is media. The power of media. Now, you probably see this a lot, people saying, work with like get more PR, get more media, and you might be wondering how am I going to do that? This is something, again, that I actually support my clients with inside my programs. I share tools and access to things that they can use to get free media opportunities, because reality is that big publications like Thrive Global, Authority Magazine, Brains Magazine, Entrepreneur Inc., even like some of the bigger ones, even Forbes, oh my God, there's so many publications out there. I can tell you that there's both free and paid media opportunities out there, but the media is always looking for expert contributors. The media is looking for stories, for insights, for expert tips. It is a consumer-driven culture that we're in, so they're looking for content. They're looking for contributors. They're looking for someone like you to bring their expertise to their audience. So start thinking about what magazines, what online magazines, what blogs, what spaces could be valuable for you to share your message, because they speak to your ideal clients. And then from there, you can start pitching your stories, your ideas, your blogs to actually be featured through the media. And this is really powerful because now you have a big publication that is backing you. For example, I have written articles for Brains Magazine. I have been in Hotelier Magazine. I've been in Authority Magazine. I've been in Medium. I have been featured in Thrive Global, just to name a few. And from there, as people are reading it, traffic can be pushed to your website, to your social media, or to other things that you have in place. But again, these are established businesses, established publications. And now not only does it help me build my authority as an expert, not only is it good for me because I have a company, an established, well-known brand and media outlet say, we believe that this person is an expert in scaling business, but I'm also tapping into the networks of sometimes millions of people of my ideal audience. And all of this helps me create more traffic to the things that I do. And then from there, I have strategies on what to do with the traffic. So this is where I'm going to leave you at today. Start thinking about it. I gave you 3 ways in which you can increase traffic, and that's actually quite organically by tapping into other things. Of course, you can also create paid traffic through advertising and things like that, but that is a different conversation and also something that might come a little bit later in the game for you. So truly hope that this was valuable today. If you've got any questions, if you want to connect more, don't forget, hit me up on my Instagram at Teresa Lambert Coaching. I love connecting with you. I love having conversations with you. And I'm going to be diving into a new conversation with you around what are we going to do once we actually have traffic, and how can we make sure that we're moving people through our businesses from point A, which is where they're finding out first about our business, all the way from free into our paid programs and services. But we'll chat about that another day. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss a beat. And I cannot wait to be back with more juicy insights on how you can scale your business to 6 figures in more flow and with more freedom to play. Rock on.